that we covered on day 1 and day 2. Okay, let me quickly run through and remind ourselves of the neuroscience concepts that we have covered till now. On day 1, we had covered the most important concept called as negativity bias, how it is so important to keep relating ourselves and examining our thoughts in the context of this concept of negativity bias, which is innate in all of us. While this bias definitely helps us to survive, but it also comes in the way for us to evolve. We also mentioned saying that most of these automatic negative thoughts are actually false. They are our projections, mental projections of past unhealthy events or experiences which we haven't processed correctly in our lives, and they tend to project ourselves into the future. Yesterday, we discussed about the important concept of neuroplasticity and how it is possible to rewire our brains to and keep evolving. Rewiring our brains essentially means rewiring our life to be better us than what we were, let's say, the previous day or the previous month. So, rewiring our thoughts, rewiring our beliefs, our perceptions, our experiences, and eventually our own worldview. And he also mentioned about the unlimited potential of the brain that we all have, and we need to be able to find ways of tapping into this unlimited potential. Okay. We also discussed about the close, intimate connections between our mind, body, and our behavior. We are all aware about the connections between mind and body, how they are interconnected. But our behavior as well is so tightly coupled with it. And we saw its relations with regards to our thoughts, feelings, and actions. And why is it essential that we harmonize at all the three levels, our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Then yesterday, very briefly, what was covered with regards to the mind and brain, how the higher center of the brain or the conscious or the willful mind emanating from that, the non-conscious or the habitual mind or the mind that tends to make us work in the sorry, did I lose you for some time?
Yes, Vasanji. I think you were disconnected for a few fractions.
Okay. Fine, let me share the slides again. Okay. I was basically recapping what we discussed on day 2. And we discussed about the conscious or the willful mind arising from the higher center and the non-conscious or the habitual mind essentially arising from the lower center of the brain. And it is this lower center of the brain from where the automatic negative thoughts or our depressive and anxious or compulsive thoughts emanate from, while the lower center of the brain is equally important in order for us to survive, to maintain our body's internal physiology, like our heartbeats, breath rate, digestion, and so on. But at the same time, using that lower center of the brain for other activities can come in the way for us to evolve and to have better well-being. One of the most important slide that I personally find is how it is essential that we use both the higher center and the lower center part of the brain, or I would say rational mind and the emotional mind, um, and use that and keep widening that intersection between the two and emanate our thoughts and actions from these part of the mind, which is being coined here and illustrated here as a wise mind. And two major aspects that we've discussed in day 1 and day 2 is how our interpersonal relationships are extremely important, and to support that we need to recognize the interconnectedness and the interdependence of our existence. Okay, just as yesterday, Auntie had shown this video. We would like to see it again in the context of today's topic. Before we get on to that, let me show that once again. And I hope the sound will be heard today.
We're still not able to see the top of the screen, Vasant.
Okay.
I think Zoom control panel will be there on your screen, which is blocking a part of the screen.
Yeah, and also see there are boxes that are coming up on the screen itself, not even on the Zoom bar. I don't. Okay, let's try.
Okay. I will have to check how to. I thought the Zoom control panel should automatically go away after some time.
You can select that option, Vasan bhai,
Okay.
to hide the Zoom control panel.
I'll get in touch with you, Ravish
Okay.
on that.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, Vasan bhai.
On how to do that. So let's look at this video once again. I hope the sound also was clear, Ravish bhai.
Yes, we could hear
Yes.
the sound.
Okay, great. So in that context, today we thought we will start off with another meditation technique, meditation on interconnectedness. Um, before I we collectively run through this meditation on interconnectedness, just one slide on the science behind this particular meditation technique. It's based on the guided visualization technique, or the imagery technique. So you'll be shown a picture, and with your eyes closed, you have to imagine that picture as we are going through the meditation. One of the important concept here is our brains, they cannot differentiate between real and imaginary. The easiest way to relate to this is, for example, when we are in a movie and the movie is going through all sorts of emotions, highs and lows, we know how internally we also go through those emotions. While it's not real, it's happening on the screen, but our brains go through um, all of that, although it's completely imaginary. We all know that in certain emotional situations, we even cry. And we also feel very joyful when certain things happen on the screen. So um, now this particular aspect has been used in guided in this visualization meditation technique. In fact, National Institute of Health in US considers this technique as a part of conventional medicine to treat various illness under mind-body medicine and thus enhance people's quality of life. We will be using it today in the context of meditation on interconnectedness and gratitude. Okay, now this is the picture I would like all of you to see and remember while we are going through the meditation on interconnectedness. Picture showing that we are all connected right from the subatomic level to the cosmic level. So just imagine this particular picture before we um, get on to the real meditation. So I'll be turning my video off, and you can now settle down on your mat, either on a chair or a cushion, in any comfortable pose with your eyes closed. Let's take some deep breaths. Let's connect to our breathing. Feel our breath. Watch our breath. Observe our breath. If you feel like, you may even relax in Shavasana as long as you can listen to the meditation instructions. Whatever posture you may be, let your body be relaxed, but the mind be alert. Relax your facial muscles, neck muscles, bring a smile to your face with a sense of gratefulness for this beautiful and pleasant morning. As we are going through the meditation instructions, if your mind wanders, gently, lovingly, and kindly bring your focus back to your breath. As we'll be going through the instructions, keep that picture of interconnectedness in your mind. Eyes are preferably closed. And feel it deeply, genuinely, and intensely. Now visualize yourself comfortably sitting in your room. The room in which you are is a part of your house. The house that you live is a part of the neighborhood, your neighborhood. The neighborhood that you live in is a part of the city, your city. The city that you live in is a part of the state, your state. Keep expanding your vision to the state level. The state that you live in is a part of the nation, your nation. The nation that we live in is a part of the continent, the continent that we live in is a part of this planet Earth, the Mother Earth, which belongs to all of us. Whether we know it or not, recognize it or not, whether we are aware of it or not, we are all interconnected to this nature, to this Mother Earth. Our Earth is one of the planets of our solar system. And our Sun is at the center of our solar system. All our energies are ultimately derived on this galaxy from the Sun. The Sun is one of the hundreds of billions of stars in our galaxy called the Milky Way. This Milky Way galaxy is one of the billions of galaxies in the universe. Our solar system in this universe is like a speck of dust. When we are looking at the stars in the universe, you are literally looking at the past anywhere from a few minutes to several years. Imagine that we shrink our solar system to fit onto the palm of our hand. Then the sun is smaller than a grain of sand on our palms. You are one of the several billions of people in this universe. And yes, you are one in a billion and so unique. Let's try to keep our eyes closed and keep focusing on our breath as we are following these instructions. Now, after this cosmic journey, let us zoom back into our micro universe. Come back to the planet Earth, one of the planets of our solar system. Come back to the continent that you live in. Is one of the 7 continents on this earth. The nation that you live in is one of the many nations on this earth. The state and the city that you live in is one of the many in your nation. The house that you live in is one of the many houses in your neighborhood. And you are in that house, in your room, enjoying your home, on this planet and in this universe. What makes you enjoy your home on this planet is the gravitational force that is acting upon you. It is the same force of gravity that holds the planets in their orbits as they revolve around the sun. It is the same force of gravity that holds the galaxies together in this universe. This invisible force is poetically and spiritually can be expressed and experienced as love, as pure love, as unconditional love. This unconditional love is referred to in Sanskrit as ahaituk priti, as described in the scriptures. This unconditional love, or the force that is holding this universe together, is eternal. It is beyond time, space, and causation. It is this eternal unconditional love, or the ahaituk priti, that holds all of us together, right from the atomic level to the cosmic level. To begin with, let us experience and express this force with our own children, with our own parents, with our own spouse, so as to experience real joy, real sense of well-being, real sense of long lasting happiness, which cannot be found in isolation, which cannot be found in singularity, which can only be found if all the members of the family or the people whom we interact with are collectively happy. And each one of us in our rooms are unique, yet you are one of the many billions. Yes, each one of us are unique and special. What are we using this uniqueness for? Are we using this uniqueness to come together in harmony and love, or to grow apart by differentiating and finding the differences and faults? Always remember that you are absolutely amazing and unique, just like everyone else is also unique and amazing. The fundamental interconnectedness lies at the ultimate heart of our reality. I am because you are. Ubuntu, which embraces the idea that humans cannot exist in isolation. We depend on this interconnection both at the micro and macro cosmic level. This interdependency, because of interconnectedness, is a much higher order reality than the material or the financial independency that we may be striving for. Let us all collectively reflect on the essence of this highest knowledge, the highest reality, that we are all one. There are no others. There are absolutely no others. Let all our interests converge into one of harmony, leading to peace within us and in the world. And let us know beyond doubt that we have the capability of making this universe a better place. Let us be grateful for this roof on our head, built by laborers who have toiled hard to give us this shelter. Let us be grateful to the milkman and the vegetable vendor who delivers our daily needs at our doorstep. Let us be grateful for the farmers who bear the brunt of our collective actions and the results of the climate change, and also still toil for us to produce our food. Let us be grateful towards our cook, our maid, our gardener, our driver, who enables us to live in comfort. Let us be grateful for the running water in our taps. Let us be grateful for the weavers and the farmers due to whom we have ample clothes filled in our wardrobe. Let us understand and experience this deep interconnectedness and be grateful for everything that we have. Ubuntu in its deepest form. Let us once again recall and connect ourselves to this highest knowledge of interconnectedness. We are all one, and there are no others. Let us Take some few deep breaths. Understanding and experiencing this interconnectedness right from subatomic level to cosmic level. Everything in this universe is held together due to this invisible force, unconditional love, Ahaituka Preeti. Let us now wish and pray for the well-being for ourselves and all beings, visible or invisible. We will chant the prayer. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. You may do the chanting at your end. You may join the palms together. Om. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You may gently rub your palms over each other. Keep your palms on your eyes, eye muscles. Massage your facial region, neck region. And gently open your eyes. Thank you. With that meditation on interconnectedness, I would like to invite Ushanti to start with her today's presentation.
Sure. Thank you, Vasant. Okay. Couple of quotes on interconnectedness and Ubuntu. Very powerful quotes by some of the South African leaders. Bringing people together is what I call Ubuntu, which means I am because we are. Far too often, people think of themselves as just individuals, separated from one another, whereas you are connected, and what you do affects the whole world. When you do well, it spreads out. It is for the whole of humanity. Just last month, I was in South Africa during their National Heritage Day, and I spoke of spiritual heritage because usually heritage we attribute to buildings, architecture, cultural heritage, and whatnot. But I felt we need to really focus on our spiritual heritage. And on National Heritage Day of South Africa, this is what Nelson Mandela talks about. The spirit of Ubuntu, that profound African, the spirit of Ubuntu, that profound African sense that we are human only through the humanity of other human beings. This is not just a parochial phenomena, but has added globally to our common search for a better world. Very, very apt for today's topic, and also based on what we went through, the meditation on interconnectedness. So we will dive in, continuing with our journey on understanding how interpersonal relationships play a huge role in our happiness, in our well-being, in our health. It says the happiness of our lives depends on the quality of our thoughts. The first day I mentioned everything begins from a thought, right? So our quality of life depends on the quality of our thoughts. But just having good quality of our thoughts is not going to be enough. Why? We may have very self-centered thoughts, selfish thoughts that we are happy about, which again reminds me about more than 10, 12 years back when we were conducting a workshop through Yogakshema. A lady who had a very high position in the community, she told me that she's quite happy. She knows how to take care of herself and whatnot, but it's only the others in the family around her, they're not as happy. And when we dived deep into this case, came to know that she had obsessive compulsive disorder and she kept everything the way she wanted in the house, except the rest of the people, the husband and the sons, were in trouble. And she also learned that she only has to take care of herself to be happy. And she was only thinking of herself. And she was quite happy. So just having happy thoughts, self-centered, selfish thoughts is not going to be enough. Once she came to understand what this repetitive thoughts mean, repetitive actions, which we label as OCD. Once she understood the basis of it and the foundation, and then went through few workshops, she was able to grasp the gravity of the situation, and she was able to come out of the situation, and the rest of the people in the family were also happy. So just having quality of thoughts which is self-centered and selfish is not going to be enough. The quality of life depends on the quality of interpersonal relationships. This we saw yesterday through the most scientific evidence of a more than 85-year-old study, research study that is still going on, Harvard longitudinal study, how interpersonal relationships play a huge role in our health, in our happiness, in our well-being, and not just at an individual level, but also at the community level. The very first day, I also gave you something to wonder and ponder upon, right? We said, why? Why do we keep repeating patterns in our relationships? And we said, brain is a pattern recognition and ultimate pattern making machine. This is a neuroscience concept. What does this mean? We will get to this. See, if we keep thinking the same old way, we get the same old results. It's a no-brainer, right? It's a given. You keep thinking the same thing and we get the same results. Not only thinking the same thing, if we keep feeling the same thing, we will also get the same old results as we are feeling. And if we ask, does this make sense? We are trying to change ourselves. We are trying to transform ourselves. We are trying to evolve ourselves, but we are thinking and feeling the same way. How about our behavior? Sometimes after we go through these workshops, we realize, okay, we need to change our thoughts, we need to change our feelings, which means we need to change our mind so that the brain itself changes, the structure and function of the brain itself changes. This is how we change our lives. So we change our thinking and feelings, but we still keep getting the same old results. And then we wonder why. Because we might be thinking little differently and we might be feeling differently, but we are behaving the same way. As we keep saying, thinking and feeling differently, just thinking and feeling differently is not going to be enough. They have to followed by actions, our behavior towards others. Again, when we ask, behaving the same way, acting the same way, expecting different results, how is it possible? Does that make sense? How can we enjoy the work that we do if we put this concept at a workplace? And how can we have better relationships if we keep thinking, feeling, and behaving the same way, but yet expecting different results? That reminds me of what Einstein said. He defines insanity as doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. It's kind of easy to understand at an intellectual level, but it has to really sink in really deeply. So for that purpose, I'm going to tell you a story. Actually, it's a autobiography of an actress who actually played in the movie Sound of Music. a classic musical movie called Sound of Music, and she played the role of a nun in that movie. Her name was Portia Nelson. It's, this is an autobiography of Portia Nelson, and it's written in 5 short chapters, and I'll read the entire autobiography. And you will see why I have selected this autobiography of Portia Nelson. First chapter. I walk down the street and there is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. I didn't see the hole, so it isn't my fault. It takes me forever to find a way out. Second chapter. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it and I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. But it isn't my fault, and it still takes a long time to get out. Third chapter. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see the hole in the sidewalk. But I still fall in. It has become a habit for me. My eyes are open. I know where I am. And maybe it is my fault because even after seeing the hole, I still fell in. So I get out immediately because I thought maybe it is my fault, and I get out immediately. Fourth chapter. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk, and I walk around it. Fifth chapter. I walk down another street. Now you know why I selected this autobiography of Portia Nelson. Actually, it is the biography of all of us. If we can connect this very quickly, maybe 1 or 2 people, if you can relate this to how it correlates with our lives. What is the deep hole? This autobiography is highly symbolic. What is the deep hole? What does that mean that we are falling again and again, even knowing, seeing the hole we fall in? And just thinking, maybe doubting, maybe it is my fault was enough to get out. Just either 1 or 2 people, if you can see the symbolism and then connect really quickly and briefly, I would welcome that. Yes, Yashashri.
Ma'am, sorry. Probably it is our own thinking pattern or our own actions which become later on our habits, and then it becomes very difficult for oneself to change. But I personally believe one can, if one is determined and consistent uh, about changing, because consistency is what one actually lacks. This is
Yeah,
what my personal experience says.
that's right.
Even each
Okay.
and every one of us is working on that, probably.
Yes, thank you. You're
Thank you, ma'am.
right. It's our habits. And then one more before I go in, Dr. Charmi, you may unmute. Yeah.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we have a lot of knowledge like regarding many things. Like say for example about the diet, we are following the new lifestyle of sedentary habits with vehicles and all. But we are following the old diet, what our parents or grandparents used to do, to have three grain meals in a day, subah mein paratha and thikla and all. And then we expect that we need to be thin. But they were doing a lot of hard work in home, in the farms and all, and we are having a sedentary habit, so we are bound to, get overweight. But we have the knowledge, but due to habits, it is
Yeah.
difficult to change the habits of food.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, maybe if we can make it really quick, we can include one or two more. Yes, Krishna.
Ma'am, good morning. And actually, I had a autoimmune disorder in 2014. That's SLE, and I found out that autoimmune disease has a very close relationship to our thoughts, thought patterns, and our psychological this thing. Then I started working over it, and after 3 to 4 years of work, I am now off medicine since last 3 years. And I really feel that interpersonal relationship, work on ourselves, work on our expectation from life and from people, all those things have a very big role on our physical health. And I go through it, and with all this, what we can say, supports and understanding, and it really works miracle in our life.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. One last, Milind, if you can relate to the story and then keep it brief, that would help. The symbolism of the story is what we want to.
Yes, good morning and namaste, madam. Actually, it's autobiography of each of everyone, because we act, we think, and unless we put into the behavior, so we have to continuously do our self-analysis, atma avlokan, the way we live, and always until and unless we change the behavior, it will not give the result. So it's I can observe this in my life. It's a very very fantastic story, and everybody has to put into to make the result, to make the change in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. You're absolutely right, because the story is so symbolic. It's a story of all our lives. Somebody says something, push our emotional buttons, and we react. We react immediately. And not just once or twice. That somebody is somebody who's very close to us, our own loved one, somebody who's living with us. And we know, but we still, just because they push our emotional buttons and we have not understood how to respond or why not to react, and we keep reacting the same way, like in the story, we keep falling into the hole, even though we know it is there because it has become a habit. Reacting has become a habit for many of us. Just thinking maybe it is not the other person, maybe the way I am handling the situation, maybe I need to change. Just that thought is enough for us to take proper actions. Because even after attending these workshops, we go back to live with our same loved ones. And we go back to work with the same old colleagues. It's not the situation that is going to be different, but how we react to those situations, outside situations, need to change. So in that way, the story is so highly symbolic, and we need to keep relating, especially to interpersonal relationships with this. It will help us a lot, because the focus is again on interpersonal relationships. Yes, as somebody said, it has become a habit. Our thought patterns, it's habitual thought patterns and habitual actions at an individual level. And at an interpersonal level, it is about reacting the same way to those triggers, emotional triggers. If we keep this in the back of our mind, that means we have set a pattern in our brains. That brain, why does this work? Why do we react immediately, even though we know? Because the brain is hardwired for that, and it has formed a pattern, and that to follow that pattern is really simple, easy, and more importantly, efficient. Because the human brain weighs only 2% of the total body weight, but it consumes more than 20%, 20 to 25% of the energy. Total energy is consumed by just 2% of the body weight of the, which is the brain weight. So to conserve the energy, to restore the energy, the brain form patterns. So it becomes efficient and quick, and we follow that. Knowing this and to come out of this pattern is what mind training is all about, and is what evolving is all about. And yes, how do we widen that wise mind? The way we need to widen the wise mind is to make newer patterns the way we want it. Let anybody push our emotional trigger. If we make a pattern saying that I'm going to understand this person, I'm not going to lose my cool, I'm going to be more compassionate with this person, I'm going to be kind with this person, and form these new patterns, this is how the wide mind widens. Otherwise, we will be at an instinct level. We are going to be in the autopilot mode, because the brain is so used to that pattern, and it is being efficient. Again, there is no right or wrong here. Just because we react to things does not mean it is wrong. It is not about right or wrong. How it affects us, first at the level of health, as one of the participants was talking about the autoimmune disorders. We have only learned to react it in a certain way, and now we have learned how to change that pattern. So many of the mental health issues, many of the physical health issues, many of our habits also is because of this brain being a pattern making machine. We need to recognize this and keep the patterns that will benefit us. We should use the patterns that will uplift us, and rewire or change the pattern that are pulling us down. That is the whole idea of this. So how do we do this? Again, by training our mind, right? For that, to have better interpersonal relationships, I've come up with a very simple formula. What is that? A plus B plus C means we can evolve through this relationship. What does each one stand for? Let us see. And I'm going to go through this real quick, because we have covered most of these concepts the last 2 days, so that I can go really quickly in this today. Formula, the A part of the formula. If we change the way we look at things, the things we look at will change. We've been talking about this all along. How do we change the way we look at things, especially with respect to interpersonal relationships? We have just been adjusting, adapting, tolerating all along. Now, can we use the same relationship and actually evolve through this relationship. That is what I mean by when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at will change. Rather than mm, uh, complaining about that relationship, rather than feeling very negative about the other person in that relationship, use that relationship in a beautiful way. When I use the word use, the relationship in a most positive way, healthy way, beautiful way. Use that relationship to evolve through that relationship. And also, part of that formula A is we are here to understand and change our minds and not someone else's behavior, because we have tried this all along. We have tried to change the behavior of others, whether be it our spouse or be it our kids. We are not here to come learn and go back and change somebody else's behavior so that our relationship can be more enhanced. No, we are here to understand ourselves, to understand how this brain of ours works, to understand what is this mind and how to use this mind, which part of the brain to use, which type of mind to use, so that we can change our minds and have better interpersonal relationships, whether at work or at home or even with strangers. The second part of the formula, B part of the formula, the serenity prayer we have already talked about, which is grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Grant me the courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. We are here to gain that wisdom, to know the difference between what is it that we can change and what is it that we cannot change. And this is quite easy. We all know this, but we still keep making the same mistake. We know that it is not possible to change somebody else, but we are so optimistic, we keep on trying to change the other person, be it may our spouse or our kids or our friends. And there is so much that we can change ourselves, but yet we don't try hard enough. We don't put enough self effort to be able to change. So, to know this difference that only we can change, we need to put a lot more effort to change, and we cannot change others. But why? Why we need to change is extremely important. That until and unless that why is strong enough, we will not be able to put more effort. So the wisdom we are here to gain, to know the difference between that we cannot change others, but we can change ourselves by adapting and learning new skills, and that is why we are here. The other part of that B part of the formula is two important things. When we need to change and we need to transform ourselves, to evolve, we need both strength and courage. And how do we get this strength and courage? It's one of the Chinese philosophers who says, being deeply loved by someone gives us that strength. While we love somebody very deeply, it will give us the courage. And we need both strength and courage to evolve. Also, we saw yesterday by learning the concept of neurosculpting that we need to add something every day. If we need to keep adjusting and adapting and tolerating others, we need to keep learning newer things. If we need to be in the quote unquote survival mode. However, if we are going to be evolving more than acquiring newer things, we have everything within us. I said yesterday, we have utmost goodness, but we don't realize this. But to manifest this goodness, to express this goodness, we need to drop things, not add on more things. We don't need to learn many more new things. We need to drop off our biases. This is what we talked about in the concept of neurosculpting. How a sculptor chips away pieces of stone that does not make that sculpture. In the same way, all this negativity, all these biases that we have, that all of us have, as a matter of fact, we need to keep dropping these biases and negativity just so we can evolve. The last part of the formula is evolving, evolution of man. From animals, single-celled animal, to being humans, we have crossed many different stages. These are all stages of evolution. However, when we have to evolve as human beings, it is not a stage to reach, but it is on a moment to moment to moment basis. Extremely important for us to understand this concept of evolution, that it's on a moment to moment basis. And yes, we have the cerebral capacity, we have the cerebral capability to be evolving every moment. But at times, yes, it happens that we may not be able to evolve, we may just able to survive through. That is okay. There is no right or wrong. We need to be aware of this, and we need to be able to again use our cerebral capacity, the part of the brain that makes us human, that is the higher center of the brain, wherein all the functions of the conscious mind, be it may free will, the power to choose, the power to discriminate what is good and what is not so good, what is good short term, what is good long term, the discerning power, and the self awareness that we have to be evolving. For a while, we were in the survival mode. It is okay. Now it is the time to evolve. That self awareness has to come about. And using our willpower and focused power, that we will be able to evolve on a moment to moment basis. So, the simple formula for enhanced interpersonal relationship is this. What is that? The solution is already within us. We don't need to keep on acquiring something more to be evolving. We need to be dropping something to be evolving, right? And to gain the wisdom. What is it that I can change? What is it that I cannot change? And that evolution, the solution is within, but we need to evolve. And that evolution is on a moment to moment to moment basis. It's very simple, but yet very profound. If we can follow this formula, definitely we'll have enhanced interpersonal relationships. We can be happier, we can be evolving, we can be well. So if that is the case, what are the qualities of enhanced interpersonal relationships? Again, if I may ask, I do not want answer in sentences, just single word. What are the qualities of enhanced interpersonal relationships? If somebody can raise their hand, something like to be more loving, just single words, a quality, that's all. I would not want in sentences. Yes, Aina, go ahead. Please unmute yourself, whoever has raised their hands, because it's going to be a quick response. I just want each and every one of you just to say one quality, what is needed. Thank you.
Showing vulnerability.
Pardon?
Showing vulnerability.
Showing vulnerability. Okay. Yes, Harsha.
I think unconditional love.
Unconditional love. Deepak.
Trusting.
Trust. Absolutely. Yashashri.
Faith.
Faith. Okay. Yes. And then that must be Rajuji.
Love others as you like to be loved oneself.
Yes. Absolutely. And then the next.
Selflessness.
Selflessness. Yes. I don't know who that was. Tripti, Trivedi. Just quickly, can just each one of you can go on. Tripti, Minal, Kriti, please unmute yourselves. You have raised your hands.
Respect
Respect.
and connecting like frequently.
Yes.
Keep connecting.
Yes. Respect and be connected with others. Yes. Trivedi, done? Okay. Anybody else, Rakesh? Ravish?
Forgive and move on.
Yes, forgive. Absolutely. I got that. So let us see. I have made a list. Go ahead. Ravish, anybody else?
My
Not finding fault.
Not finding fault. Yes. Okay. You have given a whole lot more. Go ahead.
Accept the person the way he is or
acceptance. Yes.
Empathy too, madam.
Yes, empathy. Thank you. I think you have given a whole lot more, and I have just made a short list. We will see what they are, and then all of these qualities again to help reverse our negativity bias. I have also tried to give certain Sanskrit terms for each of this. All of them, what you have said, and some newer ones. Love, priti, respect, gaurava, kindness, mrudutva, infinite patience, apara sahane, listening skills, keluva kaushala, magnanimity, udatta, empathy, anubhuti, being assertive, kachitate, authentic, adhikruta, and mudita. I don't know any one single word in English for mudita. Mudita is being happy for someone else. When somebody else is happy, to be happy for that person, to be genuinely and truly happy. A beautiful, beautiful quality. If we can develop this, this is the antidote for jealousy. So this is what makes an enhanced interpersonal relationship, also contributes to our emotional hygiene. So with all of these, pardon?
Can we say samatha also?
Yes, yes, many more. I have just given a list. You have given a whole lot more, and then keep adding to that. I just mentioned a few important ones. Absolutely. When we develop this emotional hygiene and develop these qualities that will help to improve our interpersonal relationships, what happens? Then we become more compassionate, more peaceful. We accept people as they are, not as we want them to be. And we are more understanding and more kind and more loving. So with this, I think, should we take a 5-minute break here, Ravish and Vasant? Or should I continue? You let me know.
I think it will be nice to have a quick 5-minute break.
Pardon?
A 5-minute break?
Okay.
Yes, yes, Vasanthi. So we'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll continue at 8 a.m. exactly. welcome back to the session. Usha ma'am and Vasant bhai, we can continue.
Okay. So this reminds me of what Vivekananda says, that all expansion is life and all contraction is death. All love is expansion, all selfishness is contraction. Love is therefore the only law of life. He who loves lives. He who is selfish is dying. A very profound one. So, by developing those qualities that will enhance our interpersonal relationships, then we know we are on the right track. Because developing those qualities of interpersonal relationships is what is going to help expand our life. And that is a sure sign of evolving. And a beautiful quote which says, enjoy this moment, for this moment is your life. Because we don't realize the only thing we have is this moment, is this present moment, and nothing else. Because of many things. First, we know we may not be there the next moment. That is saying in a philosophical way, right? We don't know if you're going to live the next moment. I'm not saying in a philosophical way, but from a scientific way. Like when we talked about with the ants, that ants what prevents us to be in the present moment, right? And if we understand this and then get rid of that bias, then we realize we can do everything only in this present moment. And not only enjoy this moment, but also evolve this moment, for only this moment is what we have, and this moment is our life itself. This is what it means. We've been talking about this shloka of Bhagavad Gita, Bandhuratmatmanastasya enatmaivatmana jitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvatu. Dhyana Yoga, chapter 6, chapter 6th shloka. This is how we make our mind our friend, and we can conquer the mind. Not control the mind, but conquer the mind, which is nothing but Manojayaha. That Manojayaha, training the mind, conquering the mind, can only happen in this present moment. And in this present moment, just by thinking the right thing or feeling the right thing is not going to be enough. We need to be doing the right thing in the present moment. That is what translates to Manojayaha. However, we know our automatic negative thoughts actually prevent us to be in the present moment. So, if we need to get rid of all the unwanted negative conditioning, negative biases, all those negative patterns in the brain, and we need to rewire, having positive beliefs, having uplifting belief systems, and uplifting thoughts and feelings. This is how we need to rewire from our old unwanted negative conditioning to positive beliefs, thoughts, and feelings. And that has to result in action, as we know. And it is a journey and not a stage to reach. This is what evolving is all about. Getting rid of unwanted and the conditioning that we have, or the patterns, brain patterns that we have, which pull us down, which are nothing but negative conditioning. And we want to form newer habits, newer experiences by just changing our belief system, and also by changing the way we are looking at things. That's why when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at will change. So how to be in the present moment? If ants are preventing us to be in the present moment, then we need to train ourselves to be in the present moment. How do we do that? By being mindful. You know that by now we're doing various different types of mindful meditation techniques that you will not even just see on the internet. By being mindful, we can go on the internet and get hold of what mindfulness is. We can even get lot of definitions and various different mindful breathing techniques. All of that, we can get that as a technique. But if we have to make this as a lifestyle, we need to go beyond using mindfulness just as a technique that we can get on the internet. So which means we need to go deeper and to understand what mindfulness is, so that in our day-to-day dealings, day-to-day lives, we can use this technique so that it becomes our lifestyle itself, so that we will be convinced beyond any doubt that the only moment that we have is this present moment. And not only that, all we need is this moment, just now and here and now. Whether we know it or not, this is all we need, which means all we need to do is to take care of just this moment, one moment at a time. That is this present moment, here and now and here. So let us go a little bit deeper and understand what mindfulness is from many different angles, different ways of understanding mindfulness, different definitions of mindfulness that you won't be able to see on the internet. Let's take each one at a time. But before that, I would like to show a very short video on mindfulness. Ravish or Vasant, let me know if you can hear, because the sound is very important for this video, okay? If we cannot hear, then we can share this link. They can watch later.
There is a story, usually attributed to the Native American tradition, which illuminates different ways of paying attention. An elder, talking to a child, says, "I have two wolves fighting in my heart. One wolf is fearful, vengeful, envious, resentful, and deceitful. The other wolf is compassionate, loving, generous, truthful, and peaceful." The child asks, "Which wolf will win the fight?" The elder responds, "The one I feed." That doesn't mean we try to deny or hurt or kill the angry wolf. If we did that, we'd end up in a long battle, all the while somehow making that wolf more powerful through our hostility and fear. Hating that wolf sucks the strength right out of us. Instead, we calmly pay attention to the angry wolf and let go of believing they have the answers. If we can do that, they end up lying down next to us, no longer an enemy. We help strengthen the kind and loving wolf, giving it nourishment and support so that we can follow it. That peaceful wolf can become our steady companion, and show us the way through all kinds of different life experiences. Restful or chaotic, enjoyable or disappointing experiences may come and go, but we can have a guide with us through it all. This is what mindfulness can help you do. Mindfulness allows us to see our thoughts and feelings as they are beginning. It's very powerful to know what we're feeling as we're feeling it, know what we're thinking as we're thinking it. With mindfulness, we can choose what will strengthen and bring into action, and we can choose what we will gently let go of. We don't have to be at the mercy of old habits or old ways of thinking or old ways of being. We are empowered. It just takes practice.
That was a short video on mindfulness, very powerful. And we can also share that link later with you all. But now let us look at mindfulness from many different angles. This is the classic definition that you will get for mindfulness when you go on the internet, that says bringing one's complete attention to the present experience on a moment-to-moment basis in a non-judgmental way. It's a mouthful. Let us understand this, and by just knowing these three phrases: present moment, paying attention, and being non-judgmental. What does that mean? All we need to do is to train ourselves to be in the here and now, now and here. That is being in the present moment. Just being in the present moment and being mindless is not going to be enough. We have to be highly focused, concentrating on whatever we are doing. That means paying attention. Paying attention in a particular way. What is that particular way? Being non-judgmental about it. So you see, this being mindful is far superior than just focusing and concentrating. I'll just give you a very quick example you will be able to understand. We hear students saying that, oh, this is the last time I'm going to be studying math. I'm going to be taking totally different subjects when I go to college, so I don't have to think about math. They're doing well, they're focusing, they're concentrating on their studies, but yet they are judgmental about what they are studying. That is only focusing and concentrating. Being mindful is to study whatever one is studying without judging whether it is hard, whether I like it or I don't like it, whether it is easy or hard, but to be fully focused and being non-judgmental. That is what mindful is all about. Otherwise, we are going to be in the present moment only at the level of the body. Many a times the mind is elsewhere, and mind can cross beyond space and time also. The mind is so powerful. Within a fraction of a second, this mind can go on the moon. Being in the Chandrayana, it can be on the moon in a fraction of a second. Or it can go back to prehistoric times in a fraction of a second, just by being present, bodily present, sitting in an office, in the meeting, or in a classroom, or even while talking to others. So both body and mind together, being in the present moment, in the same place, at the same time, is what we need to be training our mind. This is what helps for us to be doing the right thing each time and every time. And that is the basis for our mind, body, and behavior connection. As we have been saying all along, breath is the bridge between our body and mind. As soon as we are aware the mind is elsewhere, we need to pull it back to this body, and that is through the breath. Just paying attention to our breath every day for 5 minutes, sitting in one place at the same time, same place, Even 5 minutes is enough for us to train this mind to bring it back to the present moment and to be non-judgmental in the present moment. This is the first way of looking at mindfulness. The second way of looking at mindfulness is this way. We keep doing the same thing again and again and again. We expect different results, right? But we need to change our perspective to be able to see things in a different way and to be able to feel things in a different way, to be able to do things in a different way is what it is about, changing our perspective. And how do we do that, and what is the yardstick? We will get to that. See, one way of doing this is to see things, see people, see the circumstances as though we are seeing it for the very first time. See, in this accord, it is impossible to keep making the same mistake again and again. We say, the first time when we make a mistake, it is a real mistake. And if we keep repeating that mistake, it is not a mistake anymore. It has become a habit because we are choosing to make that mistake again and again, which means it has become a habit. So I always keep saying, we need to keep making mistakes. That is how we also learn. But keep making newer mistakes, not the same old mistake, which means it has become a habit and it is much harder to come out of that habit. As long as we are making new mistakes and keep learning from it, it is great. And third way of looking at mindfulness, this is one of my favorites, this is a way of seeing life as a unified whole, not in compartments. Because many a times we say, we like to do these things, but we have to do the other things. Like, for example, exercising. We don't like to do, but we have to do is what we feel. So that divide between we want to do certain things and we have to do certain things should drop off. So whatever needs to be done, we just need to be doing this. That means just do it, is the way to go about. That reminds me of a Nike commercial, that just do it is the way. And many a times we say, when we are given certain chores and tasks, what should I do this now at this stage? Not now. All of these thoughts, resistive thoughts come about. Instead of that, being mindful about it is, rather than asking what I should do that, so what, I will do that, we naturally take a totally different response as, so what, I will do it, rather than what, I need to do this at this time. We will say, so what, I will do it.
Welcome to
so these are the three different ways of looking at mindfulness itself. So from what to so what is the way to go. I'll come back to this video later, but let us move on to try and see how we can conclude, because we are running out of time. I would rather take some questions rather than showing that video. We will post that link on the chat box that you can watch that video on your own. So to conclude, certain quick tips for us. What is that? If you take a look at this, some of us can see this as a rabbit. If you look at it from one angle, some of us can see a bird looking the opposite way. In fact, you can see both, right? both a bunny, a rabbit, or a bird. In life, we need to train ourselves to see both. Even if we don't see both bird and the rabbit here, we will be able to show you. You can see later. But in life, we need to be able to see different ways. Especially, all of this is with respect to interpersonal relationships, right? So we usually say it is my way or your way. We always use that conjunction or, my way or your way. Can we make it my way and your way? Just like we can see both rabbit and bird in this picture. It is not just seeing in the picture, but training ourselves to see our way and somebody else's way. And hopefully, eventually, it can become our way, especially if we are working in a team, if we are within the family, then it would be better if we make it our way. And many a times we keep asking this, why does this happen to me? Right? Why me? Why me? Question arises. From that, can we move from why me to why not me? Yes, let the challenges come. How can I not ask the challenges for myself? That means the challenges will go for somebody else if it is within the family, right? So can we move from why me to why not me? And there is even a better one saying that it's not even why not me. We might even say, try me, because we know it's because of the challenges, because of learning new things that we can really be evolving. So we can move from why me to why not me to try me, so that we can definitely evolve through any situation. Because many a times in real life, we are only trained to look at things just in two ways, binary fashion, right or wrong, rabbit or bird, as we saw in the picture, black or white, good and evil. But the world we see, the reality we face is much different than seeing it in binary fashion. In reality, this world is not black and white, but all shades of gray in between. So, what do I mean by that? Let's look at this picture and see. Earlier picture, we only saw two things, rabbit and a bird. But look at this picture. There are many, many things that we can see. One elderly gentleman and a grandmotherly lady. Inside their faces, a young man and a young woman inside their faces. And if you focus between the faces, you can see a flower vase. And you can see a person in the ear of that old gentleman. And you can see the guitar. The young man is playing guitar to the lady. So there are so many things in this picture that we see. Actually, the world is like this, not like the previous picture of just seeing either bunny or the bird. It's not just my way, your way, my way and your way, our way, and many other ways, We need to train ourselves to look at the world through this picture, that there are many, many ways and possibilities waiting to happen, not just two possibilities. Either I can do it or I cannot do it. There is nothing like that. We need to develop a growth mindset to be able to see the reality like this. And when we do that, we are on the path to evolve. And that is when we will start working towards the goal of having enhanced relationships so that we can be well. I just like to conclude with some of the credos that represent interpersonal relationships. And after this, I'll take up questions if you have, and we will stay back if you need more time. We have decoded some of the tenets of enriched relationships. We call them as relationship credos. What is it? The first and foremost is Swami Vivekananda says, whenever there's a conflict between the heart and the brain, follow your heart. You will not go wrong. And we cannot give what we don't have. And we saw that yesterday's meditation technique in loving kindness. First, we need to develop this loving kindness in ourselves so that we can give that to others. So we cannot give what we don't have, and we cannot receive what we don't give also. He says outflow determines inflow. And one of my favorites and says, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? That does not mean you can be wrong and be happy. But many a times, we don't realize we prove ourselves to be right in a conversation between spouses or between parents and kids and between siblings. We want to prove ourselves that we are right. I told you so, this would happen. I mentioned to you, I knew this would happen. We always want to prove ourselves right. When we try to do that, the happiness goes off and the relationship gets affected. So even when we are right, we don't need to be proving that we are right so that we can be happier with the other person. But we need to show what is right, that's all, not to prove that we are right. And choose being kind over being right, and you will be right every time. A beautiful quote. If we have to choose between right and being kind, choose being kind, and we will always be right at the end. Again, we have seen this, the happiness of our life depends on the quality of our relationships. And so, do you want to be right or do you want to be kind? Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? So the happiness of our life depends upon the quality of our thoughts, and the happiness of our life depends on the quality of our relationships. This we mentioned again and again, showed this slide again and again for a reason, to hone it in. So this will all come together tomorrow when we go into that ultimate thing, how we can improve. As I said earlier, a great way for us to know, it is a self-measure, for us to know if we are evolving, for us to know if we are growing spiritually. Can we love others? And can we feel oneness with others? And do we have peace within ourselves? And do we radiate this peace and happiness around us? And this is called evolution, or this is called spiritual growth. And this, we can definitely nurture this by developing meaningful and purposeful relationships amongst the people that we live. So may every moment of our lives and the life of others around us be one of wisdom, inner peace, and happiness, leading to love. This affirmation, usually we just love people. That is what comes first. That's that emotional love. That is why I've put, by gaining wisdom, by gaining peace and joy, all of this has to, it has to lead to love rather than just loving somebody emotionally and then not figuring out how to adjust with this person, how to tolerate with this person, and even more importantly, how to evolve with this person. So if we can follow this, how can we have all this wisdom of knowing what is it that we can change and what is it that we cannot? And peace and happiness, I say, they are two sides of the same coin. If we are happy inside, it shows as peace outside. If we are peaceful inside, it shows as happiness outside. These three should lead us to love ourselves and to love others around us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Usha ma'am and Vasant bhai. We can extend the session to 5 to 10 minutes more if it is possible for both of you and take up few questions. So I request all the participants to feel free to ask questions. Use the option of raise hand and unmute yourself and put your question. We start with Yashashri ji.
Just two things to you asked us to ponder. So while you were talking, I was remembering Kabir ji who said that Kabira mange khada bazar mein mange sabki khair, ना कहूँ से दोस्ती ना कहूँ से बैर. So unconditionally being into the journey of life and following this, I think this is what your workshop also focuses upon. And there is one प्रार्थना in Marathi, हीच आमची प्रार्थना, हेच आमचे मागणे, माणसानी माणसाशी माणसासम वागणे. So it is very important to behave like a human being, be a human being and passionate about others human being to make the world a better place. I wish each one of us the same luck to become a good human being. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such an enlightening workshop. It really makes a sense. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Deepak bhai.
Yeah, I have one thing to say, that acceptance is very good for good interpersonal relationship, but fear of not accepting or fear of accepting is something which is blockage or creating some challenge in accepting without any resistance. So is there any tip or anything which one can do?
Yeah, we always think opposite of fear is courage, right? But in this instance, like with interpersonal relationships, opposite of fear is love. In other words, where there is fear, we won't be able to love people. If we can accept this, that opposite of fear is love, then we go even beyond acceptance. We will start loving that person. And fear is the mother of all negative emotions. Where there is fear, there is no love, including with respect to God. Many times people fear God a lot more than loving God. And whenever there is fear towards God, and there is no love towards God at that time. So if we can understand this beyond doubt, this is what will help us both to accept and go beyond to love. Thank you. Thank you for that question. Yes, Milind.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Good morning, Namaste, madam. मेरा एक आई हैव वन क्वेश्चन कि आप जो बोलते बी काइंड, बी इन प्रेजेंट एंड एनालिसिस एवरीथिंग डू, इज देयर सम कॉमन टेक्निक टू गेट ऑल दिस कैरेक्टरिस्टिक? इज इट अ मेडिटेशन or something else?
To be in the present moment, you're
Yes.
talking about?
To have all good quality, good quality.
Oh, the good quality, yes, meditation, but not just meditation. Meditation is at the thought level. We have to put that into action. How do we put it into action? What prevents us? After tomorrow, you will see what is it that is preventing us to develop these qualities of enhanced relationships. There is one thing that is kind of resisting us. Once we understand that, we will be able to know. We will get to that tomorrow.
So it's not only meditation, you have to put into the action also.
Absolutely. Always. Just knowledge is not enough. Knowledge has to be converted into action. Knowledge has to turn into action. Then and only then we will be able to develop the qualities. Otherwise, we might be giving speeches, we might be training people, that is not just at the thought level, even at the speech level, but we need to put it into action towards the people. That is the ultimate thing. And for that, there is one last step that is preventing us. And once we take care of that, the gates open up, and then we will be able to do that. We will see.
That step you will tell tomorrow.
Tomorrow. We thought of starting off today, but we kind of we wanted to introduce it today actually, but because of the time, we will do it tomorrow.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Thank you.
Raju bhai.
Namaskar, ma'am. Very grateful for this spiritual insight. As you have been taking us on the inner pilgrimage, we understand that we need to survive, but at the same time, we have to keep evolving at every moment. And as you have said about the Albert Einstein, he has beautifully said that when I take 2 morsels of breakfast, I am grateful to the thousands of people. So this beautiful insight we carry, but I just want to clarify one thing, which you said, Mano Vijay, that it is said, conquer the mind. So I just want to clarify with myself, with your wisdom and understanding. When we conquer the mind can get reversed. So is it better we make a friendship with mind and tackle with the wisdom?
Yeah, they're all different terms, that's all. I said Mano Jaya, winning over the mind in a beautiful, kind, compassionate manner, loving manner, not by fighting against it. Just like that mindfulness video showed, it is all about that. Not fighting with the old, but welcoming the new in a kind, compassionate, loving manner.
भारती जी.
हाँ, नमस्ते. अभी जो एक क्वेश्चन बताया कि fear is just opposite the love. When there is fear, तो love के लिए problem होता है. But fear also comes from past experiences. You जैसे बोलते हैं कि गुजराती में कहावत है कि दूध का जो दाज के हुआ है burnt with the milk, दे छाछ को भी फूंक के पीता है. तो ये fear है. How do we combat with such situations where love will also come with caution, or what way one can really get rid of these? If you can just say, I think that will help.
A very good question, Dr. Bharti. Yes, absolutely. The many a times the fear comes out of the past experience with the individual, the way things have been, and even then, how do we handle? That is what we will get to know that tomorrow. You can wait, and then I will take this up, and then refer to this question also. We will understand this tomorrow. And if it is still not answered, just ask just yesterday's question, ma'am. That is enough, and then I'll remember, and then I will do it again. Thank you. Thank you for that
Thank
question.
you so much.
This is all
Wonderful
going to be
question.
Thank you. This is all going to be segue for tomorrow's session. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
I think there are no more questions left, so we can wind up today's session. Usha ma'am and Vasan bhai. Once again, thank you very much for such a beautiful session. We are all looking forward to the last and fourth day of this workshop tomorrow. So we'll all meet tomorrow. Till then, I wish you all a very wonderful day ahead. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Vasan bhai.
Thank you very much.